Welcome everyone to the Deep Dive. I'm your host, ready to guide you into, well, another really fascinating corner of history and literature. Today we're taking a trip back in time actually. And our guide is this amazing historical novel. It's called O Bobo, that translates to The Jester, and it's by Alexandre Herculano, a giant of Portuguese literature.
A really key figure.
Absolutely, one of the fathers of Portuguese Romanticism. That whole movement, he was central. And this book, O Bobo, it came out way back in 1843, so yeah, pretty significant text.
Definitely. And the period it covers is just electric.
Right, we're talking the 12th century, the Iberian Peninsula. And it's not just dry history, is it? It's packed with human drama, intense passion, even a little bit of that fantasy feel that makes history come alive.
Exactly. It blends it all together so well.
But here's the hook, the really unexpected part. At the center of all this political maneuvering, these big power struggles, forbidden love stories. Who do we find?
Jester.
The court jester. Dom Bibis. Often overlooked, maybe, but Herculano puts him right at the heart of everything. So our mission today, we're going to dig deep into this book, pull out the most compelling stuff, the surprises. It gives you this unique angle on how a nation, Portugal in this case, actually came to be.
And through the eyes of this really unlikely character.
Yeah, how this one guy, using his wits, maybe some defiance, becomes this kind of accidental architect of history. So let's get into it. Let's unpack O Bobo.
And it really is the perfect book for this kind of deep dive because, like you said, it's not just Herculano laying out historical facts, which, believe me, he could do brilliantly. He was a renowned historian, too.
Oh, right. Good point.
But here, he weaves that history into something deeply human. He taps into these universal things, right? Ambition, that relentless drive, vengeance, which can be so consuming, and that search for identity, both for individuals and, for a whole people trying to figure out who they are. Plus, the whole fate versus free will thing, it's all in there.
It sounds incredibly rich.
It is. And what's so cool is seeing how these huge historical shifts, kingdoms rising, nations forming, can actually pivot on these really small personal actions by people you'd normally dismiss, people in the margins. It shows how their private motivations, their grudges, their loves can have these massive ripple effects.
Okay, so let's set that scene then. Paint the picture for us. Early 12th century, Iberian Peninsula. What's it like?
Chaotic. Profoundly unstable is probably the best way to put it. It's not a peaceful time. Think constant tension, shifting alliances, a real powder keg.
And the spark. What kicks off the main action in Herculano's story?
Well, the big catalyst is the death of Alfonso VI. He was the king of Leon and Castile, a really powerful figure.
Okay.
And his death doesn't just mean mourning. It throws everything into question. It creates this immediate, dangerous uncertainty across the whole region.
Oh.
It really sets the stage for everything that followed.
A power vacuum, essentially.
A massive one. And hugely dangerous because Alfonso VI didn't have a direct male heir.
Big problem back then.
Huge. In that time, that was almost guaranteed trouble. You gotta remember the values then. Herculano emphasizes this. Audacity and military prowess were the most prized qualities in a leader. So, without a clear, strong male successor, anyone with a claim or just enough soldiers and ambition saw their chance.
A free-for-all.
Pretty much. It created this super volatile environment, perfect for conflict, for opportunists, for loyalty to just evaporate overnight. It's hard for us with our, established systems to really grasp how completely the lack of one male heir could just unravel everything.
Right. Leadership transitions were incredibly risky.
Exactly. Personal strength, reputation, that was everything.
So Alfonso VI must have seen this coming. Did he try to prevent it?
He did. He tried. In a last-ditch effort to create some stability, he named his eldest daughter, Urraca, as his heir.
Okay, a female heir, also unusual.
Less common, certainly more contested, and it came with a major string attached, a condition. She had to marry Alfonso I of Aragon.
Political marriage.
Yeah.
To create a strong alliance.
That was the hope. Unite the kingdoms, create a powerful front. He probably figured this new prince, Alfonso of Aragon, known for his energy and severity, his military skill, he could maybe clamp down on the internal squabbles that were already brewing, and at the same time keep up the pressure on the Muslim forces to the south, the Ismailites, as they're often called in the text.
Right, the Reconquista is ongoing.
Exactly. So it was a strategic move, 2 birds, 1 stone. Internal peace, external defense. Seems smart, forward-thinking even.
There's always a but, isn't there?
Always. And Herculano puts it perfectly. He just says straight up, later events proved yet again how all human foresight can fail.
Ouch. So it didn't work out as planned.
Didn't work out as an understatement. Urraca's reign, instead of bringing stability, unleashed absolute turmoil. Herculano's description is just brutal. He calls it a fabric of treasons, revenges, revolutions, and civil wars, of thefts and violence.
Wow, a fabric of treasons. That's powerful imagery. Like betrayal was woven into the very structure of society.
It implies it was everywhere, right? Pervasive. Loyalty was basically meaningless. Alliances were made and broken constantly. The whole kingdom just descended into chaos. Noble factions fighting each other.
The external threat. The Ismailites.
They took advantage, naturally, all this Christian infighting. It allowed the Muslim forces to regroup, regain strength, push back. It effectively broke that chain of Christian victories Alfonso VI had worked so hard for.
So the very plan meant to secure the kingdom ended up weakening it.
Precisely. That marriage, meant for stability, ironically ushered in this era of deep division and renewed threat. The kingdom was tearing itself apart.
You know, something Herculano highlights, which is just fascinating for us looking back, is this lack of a unified national identity. We think Spain, Portugal, but that wasn't really a thing yet, was it?
Not at all. That's a crucial point Herculano makes. People didn't think of themselves as Spaniards. Their identity was much more local.
Like you were from Leon or Galicia or Castile.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or from the area that would become Portugal. You identified with your region, your local lord, maybe your dialect, your specific customs. This idea of a big, unified nation, it just wasn't there yet.
So what did unify people, if anything?
Religion, mostly. The strongest collective identity was Christianus. Being Christian, especially in opposition to the Muslim presence, that was the main thing that could sometimes bring disparate groups together.
Like for crusades or major campaigns.
Right, but even that often wasn't enough to override local rivalries or personal ambition. Political ties were incredibly fragile.
Especially among the powerful nobles.
Especially them. The barons, the ricos homines, these powerful landowners with their own armies, their loyalty. It shifted constantly. It wasn't about abstract national unity. It was about what benefited them personally. More land, more power, settling old scores. Individual gain was the name of the game.
Which raises that question Herculano implies. How does identity, or the lack of a strong shared identity, actually shape history?
It's fundamental, isn't it? Without that strong unifying force, whether it's religious or later national, you just get this constant scramble, this instability. You need some kind of shared purpose to build something lasting.
Okay, so we have chaos, infighting, fragile identities. And yet, here's the big twist, the irony Herculano loves. This very chaos is what ends up creating Portugal.
Isn't that incredible? The disaggregation, as he calls it, of these counties, Porto and Coimbra, which really should have just led to more fragmentation and weakness.
And that leads to a new nation.
Exactly. It's like the pressure, the conflict itself, inadvertently forged something new and separate. Initially, it was driven by pure ambition and pride, local leaders wanting more power for themselves.
Makes sense.
But that drive for separation eventually solidified into a real move for independence. And a key figure here is Count Henry.
He was married to Teresa, right? Urraca's half-sister, and father of the future first king of Portugal.
That's him, Count Henry of Burgundy. He married Teresa, Alfonso VI's illegitimate daughter, who was given the counties of Porto and Coimbra. And Henry, though he didn't live that long after Alfonso VI's death, apparently had this laser focus. Herculano says his main goal was to constitute an independent state in the territories he governed. He was actively working towards it, laying the groundwork, even if he didn't see it fully realized.
So he plants the seed.
He plants the seed. But then it's his widow, Teresa, who really carries it forward, and she is a fascinating character.
Tell me more.
Herculano describes her as having cunning and manly spirit. She was a formidable political player in her own right. After Henry died, for 15 years, she fought tooth and nail to maintain and expand that independence.
15 years. Against who?
Against her own half-sister, Urraca, against Leon, against internal rivals. She was constantly navigating threats, making alliances, leading campaigns. She was absolutely crucial in solidifying this idea of a separate Portuguese entity.
Wow. A powerful woman in a very patriarchal age.
Absolutely. And Herculano uses this whole period to reflect on Portugal's destiny. He says its history started as a work of ambition and pride, just self-interest, really. But through miracles of prudence and energy, the efforts of people like Henry and Teresa, it transformed. By the end of the 15th century, it becomes the boldest nation in Europe.
Launching the age of discovery.
Exactly. From this chaotic, self-interested beginning to a global power. It's an incredible art.
Then Herculano asks that huge question.
Yeah, that really makes you stop and think. Who will dare affirm that without Portugal, the present civilization of mankind would be the same as it is?
It's almost mind-boggling to consider the ripple effects. What if Portugal hadn't emerged then?
Right. The whole course of exploration, global trade, cultural exchange, it could have been completely different. It really underlines the weight of these seemingly localized historical moments.
And you can feel Herculano's passion here. He wasn't just telling a story. He was making a case for remembering this history, wasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He saw remembering this glorious past as almost a sacred duty, a priesthood, especially for the Portuguese of his own time, a call to national pride, to remember the ambition and energy that created their nation.
And here we are, centuries later, doing just that, talking about that ambition. It definitely resonates.
It really does. The power of these foundational stories is immense.
Okay, so let's zoom in now. We've got the big picture, the birth pangs of a nation.
Hmm?
Where does the novel itself really focus? Where's the heart of the action?
The heart of the action is Guimarães Castle. This imposing fortress becomes the crucible for all the personal and political drama.
And Herculano makes it sound pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah. He describes it vividly. Strong, advanced defensive engineering, way ahead of its time. He says it could basically look with calm disdain upon the formidable and varied military engines of Christians and Saracens alike.
Like it was laughing at siege towers and catapults.
Pretty much. A symbol of power, security. Impregnable, you'd think. But of course, the real vulnerabilities weren't in the stone walls.
They were inside, with
Yeah.
the people.
Exactly. Within those supposedly secure walls, you've got all these intense personal tensions just simmering.
So who are the key players inside the castle keep? We mentioned Teresa.
Right. Teresa's there, holding court. And with her is her lover, Count Fernando Pérez de Trava. He's a powerful Galician nobleman.
And their relationship.
Yeah.
Controversial.
Very. Herculano describes their affection as intense, but it was a major scandal. He notes how more virtuous ladies kept their distance. This wasn't just a private affair. It had political implications, created factions, fueled resentments.
Okay, so Teresa and her lover. Who else?
Then there's young Dulce. She's the daughter of a nobleman who died, and Teresa raised her. She's portrayed as this angel of goodness and beauty.
A classic romantic heroine type.
Sort of, but with a twist. Her heart seems closed to love, or at least that's the perception.
But there are whispers.
There are whispers about her connection to Igas Moniz Coelho. He grew up with Prince Afonso Henrique Teresa's son, the future king. They were childhood friends.
And Igas Moniz, where is he?
He's gone off on a crusade to the Holy Land, left Dulce behind.
Why?
Well, according to Herculano, it was about chivalry, reputation. The poetic souls of that time did not understand love without renown. He felt he needed to win glory, prove his worth before he could properly pursue her love.
Ah, the complexities of the medieval heart indeed. Okay, so Dulce is possibly waiting for Igas. Anyone else in this mix?
Yes. Enter Garcia Bermudez. He's an Aragonese knight, brave, loyal, and a favorite of Count de Trava, Teresa's lover.
Okay. And his role?
He's desperately in love with Dulce, earnestly, deeply, but she only sees him as a brother.
Oof. The friend zone medieval style.
Pretty much. So you've got this tangled web, Teresa's scandalous affair, Dulce's seemingly closed heart, Igas off seeking glory, Garcia suffering from unrequited love.
And all this personal stuff is happening against the backdrop of huge political stakes.
Exactly. Herculano masterfully weaves them together. These aren't side plots. They are the plot, driving the motivations and actions that will lead to the big historical clash. It shows how history is lived through these very personal dramas.
Okay, the stage is set. The castle, the political tension, the personal entanglements. Now let's bring in the title character, Dom Beavis, the jester.
Yes. And his introduction is just stunning. Herculano doesn't hold back.
Give us the description.
Okay, get this. A figure little more than 4 feet tall, ugly as a Jew, pot-bellied as a cannon of Toledo, filthy as the conscience of the celebrated Archbishop Gelmírez, and insolent as a villain of Betrayal.
Wow. That is vivid.
Yeah.
And loaded with the prejudices of the time.
Absolutely. It immediately tells you this is not going to be some cute, funny clown. He's grotesque, maybe transgressive, definitely venerable. That comparison to Archbishop Gelmírez's conscience, that's a deep cut, referencing a notoriously corrupt church figure.
And insolent as a villain of Betrayal, like defiant peasant.
Right. It paints him as low status, but also maybe rebellious, someone who doesn't know his place. It grabs you immediately. This is not your typical hero.
So what's his story? How did he end up as court jester?
His backstory is just as unconventional. He actually started out as an oblate, a child given to the monastery of St. Mumadona to become a monk.
So he was meant for the church.
Supposedly. But Herculano says when he reached the age of reason, he basically said, nope, and threw his habit to the nettles.
Huh. I love that image. So he rebels.
Big time. He chooses the life of a wandering minstrel instead. And eventually, he lands the gig as court jester for Count Henry Teresa's husband.
How did he manage that?
Apparently, he replaced a Burgundian jester who made the mistake of insulting the Portuguese, calling them stupid savages of the West.
That's a bad move.
Very bad move. So Dom Bibas, in a way, becomes this unlikely defender of Portuguese pride, using his wit to shut down the foreigner.
So even becoming jester involves some conflict, some assertion.
Exactly. And Herculano mentions there are even debates back then about whether the role of court jester was even a proper office in Portuguese custom. But as he rightly puts it, progress won. Society was changing, making room for figures like Bibas.
Okay, so he has this official, if strange, position. But what did that mean? What power or lack thereof did a jester actually have? It's more than just telling jokes, right?
Oh, much more. This is where Herculano gets really insightful about the jester's unique social function. He compares the jester to the censors of ancient Rome.
The censors. They were powerful officials who monitored public morality and conduct. That's a serious comparison.
It is, because think about it. Herculano describes medieval society as a place where human vilenesses appeared without a veil. Cruelty, tyranny, corruption, scandalous behavior, it was often right out in the open, especially among the powerful.
And most people couldn't say anything about it.
Exactly. But the jester, he had this unique license. Herculano says he could descend and ascend the steep and long stairway of privilege, uttering at every step a voice of reproach.
So he could walk among the highest lords and ladies.
And call them out, punishing all crimes with a bitter insult and exposing the dishonors of the powerful. He could use satire, a cutting rhyme, a mocking gesture to speak truth to power in a way no one else dared.
Like a living political cartoon.
Kind of. Herculano calls the jester a mirror that reflected, cruelly sincere, the hideous features of a disordered and incomplete society. He wasn't just an entertainer. He was a social critic, a judge and executioner in his own way.
And his weapon was laughter.
Yes, but a specific kind of laughter. Herculano calls it diabolical because it never failed to strike painfully the fibers of some heart. It was laughter meant to wound, to expose, to shame.
That's a dark kind of power.
It is, and it's a total paradox, isn't it? This figure, often physically marginalized, low status, maybe even despised,
Holds this incredible power to humble the mighty. A symbol of freedom and equality, almost.
in a very specific, limited way, yes.
Wow.
Within the context of entertainment, he had this freedom. But Herculano is clear. Outside those moments, the jester's life was often miserable, full of contempt, mistreatment, disposable.
So there was this unspoken agreement. We'll let you say these uncomfortable truths, but don't forget your place.
That seems to be the social contract. A necessary pressure valve, maybe, but a dangerous one for the jester himself.
But Dom Bibas, our jester, had a line he wouldn't cross.
Right. And this is crucial for the plot. Herculano makes a point of saying Bibas had one rule. Never did a word pass his lips that would tear the soul of a lady.
Interesting. Why?
Herculano attributes it to his Portuguese heart, Portuguese of the good Gothic stock, a kind of innate chivalry, perhaps, or maybe just strategic sense.
How so?
Because this refusal to target women earned him a different kind of standing, especially with the court ladies, including Dulce. They saw this as a mark of respect, maybe even honor.
So they protected him.
Exactly. They offered him refuge when the powerful men he mocked got angry. This seemingly small detail, his code of conduct, is vital. It builds a reservoir of goodwill, a kind of shield that becomes absolutely essential later on. It shows even a fool can have principles that shape destiny.
Okay, the scene is set, the players are in place, the tensions are high. Now things start to really happen. We're back at Gimmerau's castle, an evening gathering.
Yeah, and the atmosphere is thick, you can feel it. On the surface, it's courtly life, but underneath, everyone knows war is coming. Military preparations are obvious, armor clanking, maybe, soldiers drilling outside.
Right, and Teresa, she must be agonizing. It's her son, Afonso Enriques. She's about to fight.
Exactly. Torn between her power, her lover, and her own child, Herculano portrays her anguish, and meanwhile, her lover, Fernando Perez, is getting increasingly edgy, irritable. The pressure is immense.
And then it blows up.
It blows up. The tensions between the different factions of nobles finally spill out into the open. Sharp words, accusations, the polite facade crumbles.
And Dom Bibas, what's he doing?
He sees his moment, but it's not just for a laugh this time. He launches into this incredibly sharp satirical verse. He's not just mocking people, he's revealing secrets. Dangerous court secrets, maybe hinting at betrayals, weaknesses, things only he would know from observing everything.
Wow. Weaponized satire.
Totally. But he pushes it too far, or perhaps hits too close to home for Fernando Perez.
Ceresa's lover.
Right. Perez, absolutely furious, orders Bibas to be flogged publicly.
Flogged. For words!
Yes, and Herculano stresses this is a massive disgrace for a free man, even a jester. It's not just physical pain, it's profound public humiliation. A stripping of dignity. It wounds Bibas to his core, body and pride.
And this is the turning point for him.
This is the absolute turning point, that humiliation transforms him. He goes from being this mischievous, sometimes pointed fool to what Herculano calls a demon driven by vengeance.
It's personal now. Deeply personal.
Completely. All his intelligence, his cunning, his resentment, it all crystallizes into this one burning desire. Revenge.
And he knows how to get it.
He does. He has the ultimate weapon, knowledge. He knows about a secret passage, an underground tunnel leading into or out of Guimarães Castle.
The supposedly impregnable fortress.
Exactly. A passage unknown to all except maybe a very select few. And Bibas realizes this passage can deliver the castle into the hands of Teresa's enemies, her son's forces.
It makes you think, doesn't it? How that deep personal insult, that humiliation, can just completely reshape someone's purpose. Drive them to do things they never would have considered before.
Absolutely. It channels everything he is, his insight, his marginalization, his anger into the single, potentially devastating act of revenge. History is about to turn on a jester's wounded pride.
Meanwhile, as Bibas is plotting, another thread is unfolding. Egas Moniz returns.
Yes, Dulce's beloved. He comes back from the Holy Land, filled with hope, probably expecting a hero's welcome and a reunion. But he comes back in disguise. Things are tense.
And he finds
devastation. He connects with Afonso Henrique's supporters and learns the crushing news. Dulce has been married off.
To Garcia Bermudez, the one who loved her.
Exactly. And worse, he learns this was deliberately engineered by Fernando Perez as a way to hurt Egas. Pure cruelty.
Oh, that's brutal. But didn't Dulce agree to it?
Yes, but here's the tragic irony. She agreed to marry Garcia to save Egas' life. She believed it was the only way to protect him from Perez's vengeance, a selfless sacrifice.
But Egas doesn't know that.
Apparently not, or perhaps he can't accept it in his grief and anger. When they finally meet again, maybe Egas gets captured or seeks her out. It's just awful. Herculano says misunderstanding and bitterness tear them apart.
So her sacrifice becomes the very thing that divides them. Heartbreaking.
Utterly heartbreaking. The dramatic irony is just crushing. Her attempt to save him destroys their love.
So Egas is devastated, maybe captured, thrown in the dungeon.
The text implies he ends up imprisoned. Yes, broken, despairing. And who shows up at his cell?
Let me guess. Dom Bibas.
Dom Bibas, disguised as a monk, adding another layer of deception.
Is he there to offer comfort? Help?
Not really comfort. He's there with an agenda. Herculano was clear. Bibas isn't there for consolation. He's there to fuel his thirst for revenge.
He sees Egas as a pawn in his own game.
Precisely. A tool. He finds Egas in despair and offers him a way out the secret passage.
The jester's secret weapon.
Exactly. He tells Egas, escape, live, so you can destroy our enemies. He taps into Egas' own desire for vengeance against Perez and Garcia.
A pact born of shared hatred.
Pretty much. And Egas, feeling he has nothing left to lose, accepts. He uses the passage to escape.
And with that, Bibas's trap is sprung.
The trap is set. The jester, from the shadows, has manipulated events perfectly for his own ends. He's become the puppet master.
Which leads us to the climax.
Mm-hmm.
The Battle of Salmamed.
Yes, the decisive battle in 1128, Afonso Henriques versus his mother Teresa and Fernando Perez, and the key moment, the fall of Guimarães Castle.
Which shouldn't have fallen easily.
It shouldn't have. It was considered impregnable. But Herculano makes it clear. It falls to Afonso Henriques thanks to the jester's sabotage. Bibas revealed the secret passage. His personal revenge directly enables the military victory.
Wow. The jester literally opens the door for the future king.
He does. And amidst the battle and the political shift, the personal tragedies play out. Egas Moniz confronts Garcia Bermudez.
The man Dulce married.
Right. And Egas kills him in a duel. His personal vendetta is fulfilled.
But at what cost? What happens to Dulce?
She's devastated by everything. The misunderstanding with Igas, Garcia's death, the cruelty of it all. Herculano says she dies of grief not long after.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's incredibly tragic. And he's completely crushed by remorse. He got his revenge but lost everything else.
What does he do?
He can't live with it. He retreats from the world, becomes a monk, and then, fulfilling the romantic tragedy trope, he dies soon after on Dulce's grave.
A truly devastating end for them. Love, sacrifice, revenge. It just destroyed them.
Completely. Their story is a core emotional pillar of the novel.
So what about the main political players? Teresa and Fernando Perez. They lost the battle, lost the castle.
They surrender. Their power is broken. Herculano tells us Teresa dies a few years later, her ambitions ultimately unfulfilled. Fernando Perez returns to his lands in Galicia, effectively removed from Portuguese affairs.
Their chapter closes. But what about Dom Beavis, the architect of so much of this?
Yeah.
The one driven by vengeance.
His fate is, well, it's maybe the most surprising, even unsettling part of the ending.
How so? Does he face consequences?
Not really. Quite the opposite. Herculano says the jester, Dom Beavis, regained peace of mind with the taste of vengeance.
He found peace through revenge.
Apparently so. It suggests this deep, almost chilling satisfaction. He got what he wanted, the scales were balanced in his mind, and unlike the tragic lovers, he doesn't suffer for it.
So what happens to him?
He just carry on. He continues to be the jester at the court of the new ruler, Afonso Henriques, the very man he helped put in power. He lives for many more years and dies peacefully in old age.
That's fascinating. He gets his revenge, shapes history, and then just lives out his life. No remorse, no tragedy for him.
None is mentioned. It's a stark contrast, isn't it?
Hmm.
It really makes you think about the different paths people take, the different ways they find meaning or satisfaction, even if it's through something as dark as calculated revenge. He played the game and, in his own way, won.
So wrapping this all up, thinking about O Bobo as a whole,
Mhm.
it's clear this is so much more than just a historical novel about Portugal's founding.
Oh, absolutely. It uses that history, that specific time and place, as a stage. But the play itself is about timeless human struggles. Like ambition, how it drives people, for good or ill. Like revenge, its corrosive power, but also its sometimes strange satisfaction. Love and sacrifice, how tangled and tragic they can be. And that constant search for identity. Who am I? Who are we? That resonates through the whole story, personally and nationally.
And the central insight, delivered through the jester.
Yeah, that power can come from the most unexpected places. It's a brilliant demonstration of how history isn't just made by the people in charge, the kings and the counts. It shows how these seemingly minor figures, the ones on the edges, the ones dismissed as fools, can have this incredible agency. Their personal motives, their hidden knowledge, their calculated actions, they can change everything. They can shape grand historical events in ways the powerful never see coming.
It's a reminder to look beyond the official narrative, isn't it?
Definitely. History is full of hidden actors and unexpected twists driven by the most personal of reasons.
Well, this has been an absolutely fantastic journey through O Bobo. We've reached the end of this deep dive, and I hope exploring Herculano's world has been as captivating for you listening as it has been for us. It really does shine a light on how personal lives and the fate of nations can be so dramatically tangled together.
And maybe it leaves us with a thought, connecting this story to the bigger picture. If a jester's wounded pride could help trigger the fall of a castle and solidify a kingdom, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other key moments in history, big turning points, might have been quietly influenced, maybe even orchestrated by people operating in the shadows?
People overlooked or dismissed.
Exactly. Figures dismissed as fools or servants or spies or just ordinary people caught up in events but with their own powerful motivations. People whose stories don't usually make it into the main history books.
It encourages you to look differently, doesn't it? At history, maybe even at current events.
Yeah, to consider those hidden power dynamics. Who really holds influence? Sometimes it's not the person with the official title. Sometimes it's the one with the secret or the grudge or the unexpected connection. Look beyond the obvious.
A really powerful thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on The Deep Dive today. If you found this discussion interesting, maybe share it with a friend, someone who loves literature or history or just a really good, surprising story. And we'd love to know what stood out to you. What insights did you take away from O Bobo and the story of Dom Beavis? Let us know. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep digging deeper.
Subscribe to the Timeless Tales podcast. Your stories, your time.